Hello my dear students. In the previous class we discussed the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857, the beginning of the uprising, and we also discussed the spread of the uprising. Today we will be discussing the suppression of the uprising. How did the British East India Company suppress the revolt of 1857? Okay, and then we will discuss why did the uprising fail. Alright, the causes for the failure of the uprising, and we will also discuss the nature of uprising. Alright, what was the nature of the revolt of 1857? Okay, now you see the revolt of 1857 or the Great Uprising is also known as the first war of freedom. Okay, it is also known as the first war for Indian freedom. Had this uprising been successful, okay, India would have got its independence in 1857 itself. Okay, it was a mass uprising, all right, and it was very difficult for the British East India Company to suppress this uprising. So let us now discuss how was the uprising suppressed. By mid 1857, it was obvious to the East India Company that it was, its game in India was over. Okay, by mid 1857, all right, at least in North India. So the East India Company was about to lose its hold over North India. Okay, so the revolt was about to be successful. The British, however, soon reorganized and fought back. All right, our Indian sepoys were about to win. They were about to win the revolt of 1857, but then the British East India Company reorganized and fought back. And as a result, they started recapturing the areas which were captured by the rebel sepoys. Okay, British commanders, those British commanders who played a very important role, all right, important role in reorganizing and fighting back the rebel sepoys were Colin Campbell, Henry Havelock. Okay, they were particularly successful in recapturing back the areas which were captured by the rebel Indian sepoys. All right, so this was a big blow to the rebels. Okay, the Indian sepoys were about to win. All right, they were about to defeat the British East India Company, but then suddenly by September 1857, the British East India Company reorganized its administration and fought back the rebel sepoys. All right, with the help of able commanders like Colin Campbell and Henry Havelock, the British East India Company was able to recapture back the areas which were captured by the rebel Indian sepoys. The leaders of the sepoys, such as Bahadur Shah Zafar, all right, he was arrested. He was taken as a prisoner and he was sent to Rangoon, all right, now Burma, now Myanmar. Okay, with this the rule of the Mughals ended officially. So how did the rule of the Mughals in India end officially? After the arrest of Bahadur Shah Zafar. Okay, despite losing Delhi, the rebel soldiers continued to fight. Okay, the British East India Company was able to capture back Delhi. All right, although the rebels had lost Delhi, they continued to fight. Okay, but the British now had the upper hand. Bhakt Khan, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Khan Bahadur Khan and Kunwar Singh died fighting the British. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal escaped to Nepal and continued the struggle. Tatya Tope was arrested and hanged. So within a year and a half, the British had completely suppressed the uprising. Okay. Now, although the rebel sepoys were, they were losing. All right, they were losing their hold. The revolt of 1857 was about to go in the favor of East India Company, but still the Indian sepoys continued fighting. All right, they did not give up. They continued fighting, but till then the British East India Company had an upper hand. They had advantage. Now, what kind of advantage did they have? They had already captured imprisoned and killed all the leaders, the sepoy leaders who were leading the rebel sepoys. Okay, so leaders like Bhakt Khan. Okay, who was Bhakt Khan? Bhakt Khan was the leader of the sepoys in Delhi. So leaders like Bhakt Khan, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Khan Bahadur Khan, Kunwar Singh, etc., they had died fighting. So the leaders of the sepoys had already died. All right, so slowly, day by day, the rebel sepoys were becoming weaker and weaker. Okay, and as a result, the British East India Company was able to completely suppress the revolt of 1857. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal. Who were these two people? Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal. Nana Sahib led the rebel sepoys in Kanpur, and Begum Hazrat Mahal led the rebel sepoys in Lucknow. These two leaders, they fled to Nepal. Okay, they escaped to Nepal and they continued the fight there. Tatya Tope, who was Tatya Tope? Tatya Tope also led the rebel sepoys in Kanpur. Okay, and Tatya Tope was arrested and he was hanged, and with this, the British East India Company was able to completely suppress the revolt of 1857 or the Great Uprising. Okay? The British used terror to prevent another such revolt. The rebels were tied to the mouth of cannons and blown off. Innocent civilians were mercilessly killed on a large scale. Even small children were subjected to inhuman cruelties. Sometimes entire villages were burnt down and depopulated. Alright, so after suppressing the leaders, after suppressing the rebels, the British East India Company made sure that such revolt or such uprising doesn't occur, doesn't happen again. So for that, they started mercilessly killing and torturing the people of India. Okay, so after the rebels, after the revolt of 1857 was suppressed, the British East India Company started using terror to prevent another such revolt. The sepoys were tied to the mouth of cannons. All right, they were tied to the mouth of cannons and blown off. Even children were not spared. They were subjected to inhuman tortures. Okay, is it clear? If there is any queries, please do ask me in the comment box, or you can also message in our WhatsApp group. Okay. Now, the second topic for today's class is, why did the uprising fail? What were the reasons? What were the causes due to which the revolt of 1857 or the Great Uprising failed? Okay. Now you see, the revolt of 1857 is also known as the Great Uprising. I also said in the beginning of this class that it is also known as the First War of Independence. Okay, so such a mass revolt. Okay, such a mass revolt when the when the Indian sepoys were about to win, they were about to gain freedom. What happened? That they were easily suppressed by the East India Company. What were the reasons that even when the Indian rebels were about to win, they were about to suppress the East India Company, how did the East India Company gain a upper hand? Okay, what were the flaws of our Indian sepoys, of our Indian rebels? Okay, why did they fail? Let us discuss this topic detailedly because it is very important. All right. The revolt of 1857 was the first big challenge to British rule. It failed due to many reasons. So revolt of 1857 was the first big challenge to the British rule. Now, why did this revolt fail? The revolt did not spread to all parts of the country, nor was it supported by all groups and sections of society. Many Indian rulers refused to help the rebels. Some were openly hostile to them and helped the British to suppress the revolt. Okay, so The first reason is that although the revolt of 1857 was a mass revolt, all right, almost all the sections of the society, they supported the revolt, all right, and the revolt had spread to many parts of India also. But still, the revolt did not spread to the entire country. And although many people supported the revolt, there were some Indians who openly refused to support the rebels. They also supported the British East India Company. So there was no unity. Okay, the first factor is the lack of unity among the Indians. Second, the revolt was not organized properly. The uprising in different parts of the country were uncoordinated. The rebels, they had no proper ideology or program. Okay. So the revolt was not organized. Such a mass revolt should have been organized properly. All right, so that it could be executed well. But such a big and mass revolt was not organized properly. The uprisings in the different parts of the countries were uncoordinated. There were no coordination among the rebels. All right, the rebels had no proper ideology or program. So they did not have a proper or common ideology, and their programs were also not coordinated. So there was no proper coordination, proper communication, and proper discussion among the rebels. The leadership of the movement was weak. Most of the leaders fought to liberate their own territories only. No national leader emerged to coordinate the movement and give it a purpose and direction. So in the previous topic, spread of the uprising, we saw that in different parts of India there were different leaders. All right, and all these leaders they were only fighting for their own kingdoms. They were not fighting for each other's kingdom, or they did not have a common goal. All right, so lack of leadership is another point, another cause for the failure of such a mass revolt. Okay, lack of leadership. There was no national leader. All right, there was no national leader during the revolt of 1857. There were many leaders. For Delhi there was a different leader, for Jhansi there was a different leader, for Kanpur there was another leader who was there was another person who was leading the sepoys, and all these different leaders had different agendas. They had different objectives, aims and objectives in their mind. They did not have common goal. There was no national leader. As a result, the revolt of 1857, or the Great Uprising, did not have a purpose. It did not have an aim. There was no proper aim. There was no common goal, right? The rebels were short of weapons and finances. The company's army had access to modern weaponry and unlimited funds. Okay, the Indian rebels did not have proper weapons and finances. Okay, they did not have proper weapon, nor did they have money to finance the war. Okay, but the company's army were trained. The company's army was trained. All right, it had access to modern weaponry and unlimited funds. So these were the reasons why the revolt of 1857 failed. Okay, let's understand the nature of the uprising. What was the nature of the uprising? What kind of uprising was the revolt of 1857? All right. To underplay the importance of the uprising, British historians refer to it as sepoy mutiny. That is, one in which a few sepoys of the English East India Company revolted. The fact, however, suggests otherwise. An uprising as long-lasting and as widespread as this cannot be explained by the disaffection that the greased cartridges caused among the sepoys. The revolt did begin as a mutiny by the sepoys, but it was soon supported by people from all sections of society. The participation of peasants and artisans made the revolt a widespread and a popular uprising. In some regions, the common people revolted much before the sepoys displayed their rebellious intent. all this shows that it was a popular revolt. Okay, so what kind of revolt was the revolt of 1857? It was a popular revolt. It was a mass revolt. All right. Now, how do we know that? Now, first of all, you have to understand that the British historians, in order to undermine, in order to underplay the importance of the revolt, in order to underplay means, what do you mean by underplay? In order to reduce the importance of the revolt of 1857 or the Great Uprising, they named this revolt as Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, when we say Sepoy Mutiny, it suggests that few sepoys, all right, from one particular regiment who were upset with the rumor of the greased cartridges revolted against the British East India Company. When we say Sepoy Mutiny, it sounds like that. No, it was not a mass revolt. It was not a big revolt, but it was just a small mutiny, small revolt by few sepoys who were not happy, who were unsatisfied with the episode of the greased cartridges. But this is not true, right? Although this revolt was although the revolt began in Meerut and it was started by sepoys, the rebellion, the revolt did not remain limited, did not remain clustered to the sepoys only. All right, common people, peasants, artisans, even royalties, even many royal people, the kings and the queens and the princes also joined the revolt equally. So how can such a mass revolt where common people have joined, where the royalty has joined, can be termed as a Sepoy Mutiny? So this was not just a Sepoy Mutiny, it was a mass revolt, it was a popular uprising. All right, in some regions in India, the revolt had begun much earlier than the sepoys revolted in Meerut. Okay, so it was a mass uprising. Some historians believe that a lot of planning went into the revolt of 1857. In the month prior to the outbreak of the uprising, there were instances of balls of atta filled with gur. Gur means your jaggery, chapatis and red lotuses being in circulation in many villages. These were circulated by wandering fakirs and sannyasis. Some believed that it was a secret message to the people. Others thought that the food was meant for the sepoys, as there was a rumor that the wheat flour available in the market had been mixed with bones of animals. There are some historians who come up with a theory that there are some historians who have come up with the theory that the revolt of 1857 had began much earlier. All right, how? Because there were, months prior to the uprising, there were instances where balls of wheat, balls of atta filled with jaggery and chapatis along with red lotuses were circulated in many villages. These were circulated by wandering fakirs and sannyasis. Some historians and some people tend to believe that this was a secret message, that something big was about to happen, or it might be also the food that was meant for the sepoys, as there were rumors that the wheat flour in the market has been mixed with the bones of animals. The uprising was characterized by Hindu-Muslim unity. People of both communities fought together. So this uprising was very special because there was that the uprising was characterized by Hindu-Muslim unity. There was unity between the Hindus and the Muslims. Unity among different regions also existed. Rebels in one part of the country helped those fighting in the other area. So the rebels of one part of the country helped the rebels fighting in the other areas. Seeing the spread, the revolt and the participation of people, seeing how the revolt had spread and seeing how people participated in the revolt, Indian historians have termed it as the first war of independence. Thank you and have a nice day.